Oh, hey. Sorry. I just finished watching Star Trek Next Generation. Turns out, binge watching all 7 seasons is not that good of an idea. So, what now? I guess I could watch the movies, but then I'd have to watch Insurrection, and I don't really want to do that. So, well, I know. I'll play one of the Star Trek video games. There's lots of them. I'll go find one. How about Star Trek Shattered Universe? Why this one? Apparently it's the only one I have on console right now. Star Trek Shattered Universe was released in 2004 on Xbox and PS2 by TDK. The game centers around everyone's favorite captain. That's right, Captain George Takei. I mean Sulu. Oh, that doesn't look good at all. The cutscenes look like Diet Reboot from 1994, 10 years before this game, and the lip syncing doesn't even match up.
Secure from warp on my command. Prepare to run at full impulse.
Did they even try? So the game begins with the Excelsior answering a distress signal from the Enterprise, which is trapped in an anomaly. Surprise! Actually, it is surprising because the Enterprise is not captained by Kirk. William Shatner isn't even in the game at all, probably because he was told he wouldn't be the star. Instead, Walter Koenig is in the captain's chair.
Stand down, Excelsior! Imminent warp core breach! Do not attempt rescue mission!
Nice read there, Walter. Did he take inspiration from Kevin Costner? Oh no, my ship is about to be destroyed. All crew abandoned. The Excelsior enters the anomaly and are about to get to the Enterprise when...
Shields in.
Captain, the last crystal!
Okay, this line raises some questions. The line itself isn't that far out of context normally in Star Trek. In the shows, the only crystals that are really mentioned are dilithium crystals. Maybe that penis-shaped rock that Kirk holds? I don't know. But if you aren't really familiar with the show, how are you supposed to know what's going on with just the crystal? Further still, there was no prior mention of any engine issues or crystal problems to indicate what happened to all the other crystals. I can only imagine the situation in the engine room going like this.
Captain, the last crystal!
So the ship loses control, gets spun around a bit, and somehow changes into the ISS Excelsior. You know, from the Mirror Universe. The one where humanity is quite a bit more evil than it already is. Yeah, I said it. George, someone draped a wet spaghetti noodle on your face. Can you just tilt your head a bit so it falls off? Oh, that's supposed to be a scar. Gotcha. So now the evil Chekhov aboard the evil Enterprise destroys the evil ISS Ranger. Probably because it wasn't evil enough. Well, actually, apparently evil Captain Sulu was attempting a coup of the Empire and Chekhov backstabbed him. And then an intro like the show?
Frontier.
Now I'm conflicted. On the one hand, I want to play the game, and this intro is delaying me from doing that. On the other hand, it's still a better intro than Star Trek Enterprise. I could see where they're going with this, and it's kind of cool that they made their own little theme unique to the game, even if it sounds like a ringtone from an old Nokia phone. And did they really think it was going to evolve into a whole line of Star Trek Excelsior games? Looking into the game's history, it had multiple delays and was released 2 years later than it was expecting to, so then again, maybe all they wanted was a Star Trek-like atmosphere. Which is rarely felt at all in this game. Back to the episode, game. Sulu tries to make Chekhov back down, but their phasers are sabotaged.
And death can come in 1,000 cuts. Is it not better this way, Sulu? My men against yours, ship to ship, eye to eye.
My God, fighters.
So, yes, fighters. Pretty much the only type of ship you wouldn't see in Star Trek, outside of those Maquis ships, I suppose. And it's obvious that the crew doesn't expect fighters either.
Mister, I don't care if the shuttles have become pumpkins and the pilots are white mice. Launch everything you've got immediately. Defend the Excelsior.
What?
Mister, I don't care if...
No, don't play it again. Just What the hell was up with that line?
Is it funny because it's not something you'd expect shuttles to turn into in this universe? Or is it just so out of context for a starship captain to say in such a situation? Or is it because the line was said by George Takei?
If that's the case, then the writers of this game doesn't understand that, 1,
George Takei is not a fairy and doesn't say poofy things because he's gay. He'd rather use puns.
2,
Captain Sulu isn't a gay character, so it's weird to have him say something like that in the first place.
and 3, it's just a weird thing to say. Period. Can I please be done nitpicking the weird things I find in this game? I haven't even gotten to the gameplay yet.
Speaking of which, you control a small fighter ship that has 2 types of weapons, phasers and either photon bolts or torpedoes. The fighter controls pretty much as you'd expect, maybe a bit stiff for flying controls, but after a while you get used to it. The weapons though... Phasers always shoot directly ahead and jump around like a kid playing with a tape measure whenever the ship moves.
Oh.
And the secondary weapons, well, just forget about hitting anything with them, unless it's a capital ship or other non-moving object. The first mission is pretty straightforward. Destroy the fighters, mess up the Enterprise until it poofs away. Good. And between each mission is a small cutscene setting the mood and atmosphere. I like that. That is good. It allows the player to get a bit more invested in the story. It's just, the second mission is a long sprawl of flying around shooting asteroids and squadrons of Klingon fighters, and then fighting a capital ship, and more fighters at the end. And when capital ships are present, they just drain the Excelsior shield and hull like tissue paper. Then the fighters attacking the Excelsior like to use attack runs that make you end up shooting the Excelsior instead of the fighters. And the third mission, fuck you. Just fuck you, Mission 3. The Excelsior is in space dock, and a nearby space station is sending ships to destroy it. And you have to free the Excelsior from the docking clamps. Only it's hard to determine the clamps from the space dock. Automatic targeting is hit or miss, and... What the hell? I was shooting at that time. Why did the ship explode? Well, there's a time limit, and I never even realized the countdown timer right here. So then I have to kill the fighters and destroy the docking clamps before time runs out. Alright, anything else while we're at it? No? Okay then, so the Excelsior starts to get away and... You cock sniper! Okay, fine. Now I take out the other starship and then the remaining fighters. And then the mission ends. The surprise capital ship mechanic is a recurring theme throughout most of the missions. I find the best way to attack them is with the forward and reverse with all weapons firing as fast as possible maneuver. But don't be too close or, yeah, you die. Oh, and did I mention that during these little cutscenes where the ship explodes, the game doesn't pause? So if you're not careful, you can accidentally steer yourself into the explosion.
Also, there's no checkpoints, so if you die, you have to do the whole mission over again.
Which really sucks on missions like the shooty asteroid missions because they easily are 15 to 20 minutes long with mundane tasks and then a bunch of bullshit thrown in at the end.
But let's ask the all-important question we're all longing to hear. Does the game stay true to the original series at all?
Well, yes, to a degree, as long as your definition of true consists of missions based around 5 episodes and 1 from the movie. No, not that movie, nor that one. Heh, I'm actually a bit surprised it's not that one. It's the motion picture. You know, the totally necessary scene where the Enterprise gets trapped in a wormhole because they wanted to show off early 80s movie graphics? I mean, engine malfunction? And the episodes are from the one where the ship's computer takes over the Enterprise, the one where they bluff a puppet, the one where a giant space slug destroys whole planets, the one with spaceships knitting a giant sweater for the Enterprise, and the one with the best out-of-context line ever from the Immunity Syndrome.
Brace yourselves. The area of penetration will no doubt be sensitive.
So on this adventure to find the other vortex to get home, it's basically a race against time as Chekhov hunts you throughout space. You also have to fight Klingons, Orions, and Imperial forces. Oh yeah, and Romulans disguised as Klingons because of that one time in the show where the creator of the Romulan ship model didn't get paid and destroyed it. And so the producers used a Klingon ship instead.
Probably a remote Romulan patrol using shared Klingon technology. We'll have to try to stop them before they can report us.
I just love how the developers chose the most obscure Star Trek original series references to put into the game instead of, things that are fun.
But no! Instead, we get a few more of those fly around shooting rocks and debris missions again. This is fun, right? How about when Sulu rescues Chekhov from the Tholians, and so he's grateful enough to turn on his superiors and help the Excelsior get through an Imperial blockade? Okay, that was actually kind of fun. Then there's just one final snag in the fly's ointment, so to speak. The Excelsior is blocking the Excelsior from the vortex.
Oh no, looks like I have to nitpick again. Psych! I'm gonna have someone else do that for me now. Dr. Qzar? Oh, hello! Now, you're an expert in bullshit science, correct? Oh yes, certainly, absolutely. Can you elaborate on the mirror universe from Star Trek, please? Oh, I thought you had something difficult to explain. Well, the mirror universe is a parallel reality to the normal Star Trek universe.
This being an alternate reality, that implies that the occupants of each cannot both exist in the same reality. That's why the ship and its occupants switch places and bodies instead of being physically transported by conventional means. This is, however, not always the case as seen in Star Trek Deep Space Nine or Star Trek Enterprise.
Also because the producers might not truly understand the mechanics and continuities of alternate realities. That being said, the concept of actually meeting your double in the same fashion as the Excelsior first transferred into the mirror universe is rather inconsistent, and would probably result in everyone dying from being in the same reality as their counterpart.
But this is most likely set up like this in order to have a last boss battle that has a bunch of bullshit rules and circumstantial science to it.
Thank you, Dr. Qzar. Alright then, back to real science! Isn't that a virtual boy that you're looking into? Okay then.
Oh my.
Oh my god, he said the thing. He's famous for saying a thing and he said it! I'm nerding out so much right now!
So this last battle has fighters from all the different races you've encountered. Somehow, evil Sulu managed to not only capture a bunch of hostile ships from the normal universe, but also find fighters that didn't even exist in the normal universe. Oh, and you can't damage the Excelsior. Actually, more like, shouldn't damage the Excelsior or else you risk it exploding and failing the mission. Oh, but it's still blasting your Excelsior all the while. And then more fighters than you could ever possibly imagine make a beeline straight for your Excelsior. And you need to keep it alive for a long time. Then protect a modified torpedo, then when it blows you finally are done and back into the normal universe.
I lost count of how many times I had to redo that mission. In fact, I think Past Me broke down crying at one point when I was a kid. Yeah, Past Me was dumb.
So that's pretty much it. Is it worth playing this game? As a space flying combat game, it's mediocre at best due to its awkward control and steep difficulty in the beginning. But as a Star Trek story, it has a lot of bumps in the road, but it still tells a decent narrative. And seeing Takei and Kaning's acting in this is a lot funnier than I think they intended. But it's clear that at least they put some effort into the role. And the odd references and nods to the original series can make most avid Star Trek fans at least a bit nostalgic for the show.
So if you like weird Star Trek adventures and don't mind wading through the game's somewhat clumsy design, I think you maybe find a fun experience buried underneath. What the? Something doesn't seem right. Oh my, Takei? I must be in the mirror universe. Dr. Qzar, you gotta help me. Oh right, evil universe. I probably killed him for some reason. Yeah. Oh, I know. I could try to do something to make this universe a better and less evil place. 'Cause that's the kind of guy I am.
Hey guys, I'd like to thank you all again for watching my video. If you'd like, you could leave a like or subscribe or leave a comment, I'll read it. And if you really want to, you could go watch my previous video on Aiden Chronicles, or you could watch some of my shorts that I did with Mark sometimes.